The girl with no shoes. The morning was cold, the studio air even colder, as dozens of people moved quickly between lights, cameras, and sets. Assistants shouted times, directors waved hands, and makeup artists chased after actors with powder brushes. It was chaos, but the kind of chaos that makes movies come to life. Amid this, a quiet girl walked in through the back door. No one saw her at first. She wasn't late, but she wasn't early either. Her hair was tucked behind her ears, her head slightly down, and most surprising of all, she was barefoot. Completely barefoot, not in soft slippers or studio shoes, just bare feet on the cold floor. A few people glanced at her, raised eyebrows, and turned away. Some whispered. A couple of young crew members even laughed behind her back. But she didn't seem to notice. She kept walking, straight toward the main set, her steps light but sure. Her name was Ana de Armas. And even though she was becoming a well-known actress, this morning she looked like a ghost trying not to disturb the living. She had forgotten her shoes in the car, but that wasn't the real reason she walked in like that. Her eyes were red, not from makeup but from crying. No one saw that detail. No one except one man, Keanu Reeves. He had been sitting quietly on the edge of the set, reading a script, sipping a warm cup of tea. He saw the moment she walked in. Not just her feet, but her face. The slight tremble in her chin, the way she clenched her fingers, the way her smile never reached her eyes. And while everyone else turned back to their schedules, Keanu stood up. He didn't rush, didn't make a scene. He just walked over slowly and gently, like he didn't want to scare her away. "Hey," he said softly. Ana looked up, surprised. She blinked fast, and for a second it looked like she might run. But then he smiled. Not the Hollywood kind of smile, not the one made for red carpets. It was a small, warm, quiet smile, the kind that says, "I see you." "Your feet must be freezing," he said, glancing down. Ana gave a tiny shrug. "I forgot my shoes," she whispered. "It's fine." Keanu didn't press. He just nodded. "Wait here," he said. Before she could ask what he meant, he walked off the set and disappeared. People noticed him walking away, but didn't think much of it. Ana stood alone, hugging herself. 5 minutes later, Keanu came back. In his hands was a pair of soft, clean, white slippers. They looked brand new. "These might be a little big," he said, "but they're warm." She stared at them like he was offering her a crown. "I can't," she said. "They're yours?" He shook his head. "I asked wardrobe. They had a few extras." She didn't move. "Look," he said gently. "You don't have to take them. But it's okay to be cold. It's okay to feel off. And it's okay to need help." Her lips pressed together. Then she reached out and took the slippers. Her fingers brushed his for a second. They were ice cold. She didn't say thank you, not yet. But she slipped her feet into the warm slippers and sat down on a nearby box, as if all the strength had suddenly left her body. Keanu sat next to her. No questions. No pressure. Just silence. "I didn't sleep," she finally whispered. "I got a call last night. My mom's sick. She's in the hospital. But I couldn't get a flight to Havana. And the director here, he said the schedule was too tight. He said if I left now, they'd have to replace me." Her voice cracked. "So I came. But I couldn't think. I forgot everything. Even my shoes." Keanu listened. He didn't offer fake hope. He didn't give advice. He just nodded slowly, his eyes kind. "Your mom," he said. "What's her name?" "Rosalia." He took a slow breath. "Then I'll be thinking about Rosalia today, and tomorrow, and until she gets better." Ana looked at him, eyes full of tears. "You don't even know her." "I don't need to," he said. "You do, and that's enough." They sat like that for 10 minutes. Then the assistant director called out loudly, "Keanu, we're ready." Keanu stood up, but before he left, he leaned closer. If you ever need to leave, tell me. I'll cover for you. We'll find a way. Nothing's more important than family. Anna nodded. Still no thank you. But her eyes said it all. He walked to the set. She sat alone, holding the warm slippers to her chest for a moment before standing up to join the crew. For the rest of the day, she stayed close to the camera, hit every mark, gave every scene her heart. But something had changed. People noticed the difference. The girl who came in with no shoes had found something better than warmth. She had found someone who cared. And only one man had noticed, Keanu Reeves. Whispers behind the scenes. The next morning, Anna arrived early. This time, she wore shoes. Simple white sneakers. But more importantly, she walked with her head a little higher and her heart a little less heavy. She had spent the night video calling her mother. Rosalia's voice was weak, but her smile had returned when Anna told her everything. About the set, about the long hours, and finally about the slippers. Her mother had laughed gently. Only Keanu Reeves, mi amor, she had whispered. That man has a heart made of gold. Anna had smiled through tears. Back at the studio, things moved quickly. The movie they were filming was important, big budget, and the entire team was under pressure to get it done before the summer. Lights were set, cameras rolled, and actors rehearsed over and over. But something subtle began to change on set after that moment with the slippers. Keanu had not told anyone. He didn't need to. But people noticed that he was different from the others, not just because of his fame, but because of how he moved through the chaos. He remembered people's names. He asked the camera guy about his daughter's piano recital. He helped a young assistant lift heavy boxes when no one else offered. And now he had helped Anna, quietly, without praise. Some admired him. Others, especially those who believed in power and ego, started to whisper. He's too soft, one actor said, always helping people like he's some saint. It's weird, right? A makeup artist added. He's too humble. Makes the rest of us look bad. But the whispers didn't stop Keanu. And they didn't stop Anna either. In fact, she found herself watching him more closely now. Not in a romantic way, but in the way someone watches. A lighthouse during a storm. Keanu had become that for her. Steady, calm, grounded. During a break between takes, Anna walked over to where he was sitting, reading another thick, dog-eared script. She sat down slowly beside him. Thank you, she said at last. Keanu looked up, a quiet smile in his eyes. For what? For yesterday. For the slippers. For not asking questions. He nodded, then folded the edge of his script. I've been where you are, he said. Maybe not the same exact pain, but the feeling, the heaviness. Anna leaned forward. How do you carry it? He looked toward the open set door, where the sun had just begun to shine through. I don't always carry it well, he said, but I try not to carry it alone. Anna's voice lowered. You mean, you let people in? He smiled softly. Sometimes, but more often, I just try to be the person I needed when I was hurting. Anna blinked. So you saw me, because you once needed someone to see you? Maybe, he said. Or maybe I just believe everyone deserves that. The two of them sat in silence again. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was still, peaceful, like the kind of silence you feel beside someone who understands without needing to speak. But that peace didn't last long. Across the set, one of the producers was frowning. He had seen the way Anna sat next to Keanu. He didn't like it. Not because there was anything wrong happening, but because Anna was not a major star yet. And he believed that only the powerful deserved attention, especially Keanu's. Later that day, he called Anna to the side. Listen, he said, His voice tight. You've got talent, sure, but don't get too close to Keanu. People talk. Anna's eyes widened. What do you mean? I mean this is a professional set. And when you start becoming someone's shadow, especially someone like him, it gets noticed. And not in a good way. She felt her throat tighten. I wasn't, he raised a hand. Just a warning. Don't make mistakes that cost you your place here. She walked away, her heart pounding. As she reached the hallway near the costume room, she saw Keanu standing by the window, sipping water from a paper cup. He turned and saw her face. He didn't need to ask. They said something, she whispered. Yeah, he said quietly. I know that tone. They think I'm using you. Keanu's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. Some people fear kindness because it reminds them what they're not. Anna's hands were shaking. Should I back off? Do you want to? No, she said firmly. But I don't want to lose this job either. He looked at her with the kind of quiet strength that doesn't need a spotlight. Then let your work speak louder than their words. Anna nodded. That night, she stayed after everyone had gone, running lines, practicing scenes, checking her cues. Keanu saw her light still on when he passed the rehearsal room on his way out. He didn't say anything, just smiled and walked away. But the next morning, when she arrived on set, a sticky note waited on her dressing mirror. In small handwriting it said, "Talent gets you seen. Discipline keeps you there. Keep going. K." She held the note like a gift. A week passed. Anna kept her head down, kept working hard, and something incredible started to happen. Not because of Keanu. Not because of the slippers. But because she had decided to stop shrinking and start showing up for herself. Crew members began asking her questions. Other actors complimented her timing. The director called her a natural. The producer who had warned her, he went silent. But he watched, and what he saw made him nervous. He wasn't just watching an actress. He was watching a rising storm, a woman who had walked in barefoot, now standing tall, all because one man had noticed. Keanu Reeves. The woman they couldn't ignore. 2 weeks passed. Anna's days were long and full, but something inside her had changed. Each morning she arrived early, sometimes before the crew. Each night she left last, sometimes with her eyes barely open from exhaustion. But no one laughed anymore. No one whispered about her shoes. In fact, most people barely remembered that moment, except her. Keanu remembered too. He never brought it up again, never treated her like someone he had helped. Instead, he treated her like an equal. He believed in her when no one else did, and now the results were starting to show. One Friday afternoon, the entire crew gathered to shoot one of the hardest emotional scenes in the movie. Anna had the lead, and it was her moment to prove everything. She had to cry, scream, then fall to the floor, completely broken. The scene was long, raw, and intense. Keanu was there too, playing the character who had betrayed her. But off camera, his eyes watched her carefully, like a quiet guardian in the shadows. As the director shouted, "Action!" everyone on set leaned in. Anna stepped into the light. The moment began. Her voice cracked at the perfect time. Her eyes welled up with tears, real tears, not the kind that come from drops or tricks, but from deep places of truth. She cried, then she screamed, then she collapsed. And for a moment, the room was so quiet, you could hear people breathing. When the director shouted, "Cut!" no one moved. The silence was heavy, until clapping started, first from the sound guy, then the camera operator, then the assistant director, and finally, everyone. Anna stayed on the floor, breathing hard, chest rising and falling. She looked up, confused, unsure. Then Keanu walked over and offered her a hand. "You did it," he said. Her hand trembled as she reached up. He pulled her gently to her feet. "I felt it," he said quietly. "So did everyone." The director wiped his face with a handkerchief. "We don't need another take," he said. That was it. But not everyone was happy. The same producer who had warned Anna before now stood with arms crossed, watching the applause. His eyes were hard. Later that day, Anna found a note in her dressing room. "You're being watched. Don't get too proud." There was no name, just those cold words. She folded the note and stuffed it deep into her bag. That night, she didn't cry. Instead, she looked in the mirror and repeated to herself, "They can watch me. I have nothing to hide." But inside, she felt the old fear creeping back. It returned the next day when the producer called her into his office. "Congratulations," he said flatly. "The studio's happy with your performance." Anna smiled faintly. "Thank you." He leaned back. "But just a warning. If you start thinking you're more important than the machine around you, it'll chew you up." She didn't reply. "I've seen young stars rise fast," he added. "They shine, sure, but they also burn out." Anna took a breath. "Then maybe it's not about shining. Maybe it's about being steady." He narrowed his eyes. "That sounds like something Keanu would say." "Maybe it is," she said. She left the office before he could say more. Outside, she saw Keanu rehearsing lines with a young actor who had just joined the cast. He was patient, encouraging, and full of kindness. Anna watched them for a moment. Then she walked over and sat on a nearby bench, taking it all in. Keanu finished his lines, gave the boy a nod, then walked over to her. "You look tired," he said. "I'm fine," she replied. "Just learning." "Good," he said. "Keep learning, no matter how far you go." Anna hesitated. "Do you ever feel like someone wants to dim your light?" Keanu looked at her. "Every day," he said without hesitation. "But light is light. It keeps shining, even when others try to block it." Anna nodded, feeling his words settle into her bones. A week later, the studio hosted a press event. Dozens of reporters arrived. Lights flashed. Questions flew. Anna had never been on a red carpet this big. She wore a simple dress. Her hair was down, and when she stepped into the crowd, she froze. The noise, the flashes, the pressure. Her chest tightened. She couldn't breathe. But then, a calm hand rested on her back. "Keanu." He leaned close and whispered, "Just be yourself. That's more than enough." She took a shaky breath and stepped forward, and just like that, the questions began. "Anna, how does it feel working with Keanu?" "Anna, was that emotional scene based on your real life?" "Anna, is this your big break?" She smiled, heart pounding, and said, "It feels like home. It feels like I finally arrived where I'm meant to be." The cameras clicked, and behind the crowd, the producer watched again. Only this time, he wasn't just watching a young actress. He was watching a star being born. A star they could no longer control. A woman they couldn't ignore. Ana de Armas. And by her side, always steady, Keanu Reeves. The letter that changed everything. The studio lights dimmed earlier than usual that day. Clouds rolled in above the city, casting shadows over the lot. Most of the crew rushed to finish early, knowing a storm was coming. But inside the rehearsal room, Anna stayed. She stood in front of the mirror, reading lines to herself under her breath. The scene they were preparing was tough, emotionally heavy, digging deep into pain, loss, and betrayal. Keanu had already gone for the day. He had looked tired, more than usual, but said nothing. Just gave her a small nod as he passed by. Anna stayed back. She wasn't just rehearsing the scene. She was preparing for something bigger. Her name was starting to appear in magazines. People were calling her a fresh face to watch. Some fans even waited outside the gates asking for selfies. But she knew this world. Fame was loud, and often cruel, and lately, the cruelty was starting to show. Earlier that week, she had overheard two producers talking. She's getting too close to Keanu, one said. She's using him. Classic newcomer move. Let's be careful. She's good, but not that good. We don't want her thinking she runs the show. Anna had walked away, shaken. She didn't want power. She wanted respect, but that didn't matter to some people. Now, as she read the lines again, she noticed a small envelope stuck into the corner of her script. It hadn't been there before. Her name was written on the front. She opened it slowly. Inside was a short letter. They'll try to shake you. Let them try. Just keep being real. They won't know what to do with that. Keanu. She held the letter like it was a piece of gold. It wasn't just kind. It was a shield. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed. Text from Keanu. Call me when you're free. Need to tell you something. Anna called him right away. He picked up quickly, his voice calm but different. Hey, he said. You free? Yeah, I was just reading your note. There was a pause. I meant what I wrote, he said. I know. Thank you. It helped more than you know. He cleared his throat. Listen, I wanted to tell you before you hear it from someone else. The studio's changing direction. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? They're talking about replacing me. Maybe not now, but after this project. What? Her voice was sharp. Why? He sighed. They think I'm not commercial enough anymore. Too quiet, too soft-spoken. Anna stood up from the bench, heart racing. You've carried this film. How can they even? Doesn't matter, he said calmly. I've seen this game before. So you're just going to let them? No, he said. I'm going to finish this film, then walk away with my head high. But I'm not calling them out. I'm not fighting. I'm just doing my job. Anna felt her eyes burn. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, he said. But you still have a long road ahead. Don't let my battle become yours. But Anna couldn't let it go. The next day on set, she walked into the makeup trailer and found two young stylists whispering. He's too old school, one said. They need someone who'll promote more. Post every second. Do interviews. Yeah, the other nodded. He just stays silent. It's weird. Anna walked up behind them and said quietly, You don't know him. They both turned, surprised. Keanu? One asked. Yes, she said. He's not quiet because he's weak. He's quiet because he listens, and he doesn't chase attention. He gives it. That's what real strength looks like. They stared at her, speechless. Anna left before they could respond. But word spread, fast. By noon, the whispers had shifted. People started rethinking their words. That afternoon, Keanu arrived on set. When he stepped into the room, something was different. People stood a little straighter. The air felt warmer. Anna met him near the set door. You okay? She asked. He smiled slightly. I heard someone's been defending me. They needed to hear the truth, she said. He looked at her with quiet pride. Your voice, he said, is stronger than you think. They stepped onto the scene together. The next shot was powerful. Not because of the script, but because of something unspoken between them. Two people, one battle. No spotlight needed. After the scene, the director pulled Keanu aside. They've decided to keep you, he said. For now. Keanu raised an eyebrow. What changed? Maybe nothing, the director shrugged. Or maybe someone reminded them what loyalty looks like. Keanu didn't smile. He just looked over at Anna, and she smiled for both of them. The day ended. Keanu walked past her and gently handed back the letter she had returned earlier. Keep it, he said. But it was yours. No, he said. It's yours now. You earned it. She watched him leave, and in that moment, Anna realized something. Kindness didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered. And sometimes it wrote letters that changed everything. The silence before the storm. The sun was barely up, yet Anna was already walking through the studio gates. The guard at the front smiled and waved. She nodded back, her mind full and her heart quiet. Today was important. It wasn't just another shoot. Today they were filming the final scene of the movie, the one that would define everything, the ending, the close-up that would stay in people's minds when they left the theater. And Anna had the lead moment. She had to carry the emotion, the weight, the truth. But behind the camera, other things were moving. Whispers of contract changes, new investors. And most worrying of all, rumors that the final scene would be altered. The producer she'd clashed with earlier had been in meetings all week. Now, word was spreading. He wanted to reshoot the ending. Without Keanu. When Anna heard it, she didn't believe it. They wouldn't do that, she said to the assistant director. He looked at her and shrugged. He doesn't bring the clicks anymore. That's what they say. Anna felt her chest tighten. She didn't understand the logic. Keanu had done everything right. Every take, every scene, every word spoken with care. And now, just before the end, they wanted to cut him out? She couldn't stay quiet. She found the director near the lighting setup. Is it true? She asked. Are they changing the scene? He sighed and rubbed his forehead. I didn't want to, he said. But the studio is pressuring us. They say the market wants something more trendy. Anna crossed her arms. Trendy doesn't mean truthful. I know, he said. But they have final say. What about your say? She asked. You're the director. He looked at her, weary. Sometimes being in charge just means you're the first one to get blamed. Anna walked away, angry, but calm. She found Keanu sitting under a tree near the edge of the studio lot, away from the noise. He looked peaceful, as if he already knew. They're cutting you, she said. He nodded slowly. You're not going to fight it? He looked up at the sky. I've learned something, he said. Sometimes fighting back gives them what they want. Sometimes silence makes them uncomfortable. It makes them face what they're doing. But what if silence doesn't work? He smiled faintly. Then we create something so good they'll regret cutting it. Anna sat beside him. I don't want to shoot the ending without you. Then let's give them a reason not to. They returned to set. The scene began. Cameras rolled. The room fell into silence. Anna delivered her lines with everything she had. Tears, strength, pain, and hope. Her voice cracked at just the right moment. Her hands trembled. And when Keanu stepped into the frame, his eyes full of sorrow and grace, something powerful happened. You could feel it in the air. No one spoke. Even the crew behind the monitors leaned forward. Anna whispered the final line. Keanu stepped forward, silent, then placed a hand gently over hers. And with that, without a single word spoken, he gave her the ending she needed. The director didn't. Call cut. No one moved. Finally, the director whispered, We're keeping that. Later that evening, the producer stormed onto set. You didn't follow the new cut. The director stood tall. We followed the story. You can replace actors. You can edit scenes. But you can't fake truth. The producer glared at Anna. Did you plan this with him? Anna didn't blink. I planned to tell the story right. Keanu stood beside her, silent. The producer walked off, angry and defeated. And that night, the studio changed course. They kept the ending. When the test audience saw it the next week, they cried. They clapped. They stayed in their seats long after the credits rolled. One person wrote on the survey card, that last scene felt real, like someone finally told the truth about what it means to forgive. The studio executives took notice. Keanu was not cut. And Anna. She was now the name they couldn't stop saying, but she didn't brag. Instead, she walked over to Keanu the next day, holding a cup of tea. You were right, she said. We didn't have to fight. We just had to show them, he nodded. Truth speaks for itself. As they sat together under the tree again, the world around them kept spinning, full of noise, cameras, and pressure. But for a moment, there was only stillness. only peace. And in that silence, something beautiful had happened. Not because of shouting, not because of power, but because two people chose kindness, truth, and each other. When the curtains fall, weeks passed, the film wrapped with applause and deep emotion. Everyone knew they had created something special. The story wasn't just strong, it was unforgettable. And at the center of it, standing side by side in every frame, were Anna and Keanu. But as the sets were taken down, lights packed away, and makeup kits zipped shut, the real world returned. Fast, loud, and hungry for drama. The movie hadn't even released yet. But interviews were being booked, magazine covers designed, questions prepared. Anna was invited to 3 late-night shows in 1 week. Her face appeared on digital billboards. Agents called from New York, London, Madrid. Everyone wanted a piece of her, and still, she carried the same soft smile she had worn the day she walked barefoot into the studio. But something troubled her. Keanu was stepping back. He attended no press events, skipped interviews. He declined a major talk show invitation, politely saying, "Let Anna shine." It made sense. He had never chased attention. But this time, it felt different. He was disappearing. Anna tried calling him a few times. He answered, always kind, always calm. "Just resting," he said. "I'm letting this one belong to you." "You were just as much a part of it," she told him. "Maybe," he replied, "but I've had my time. This is your season now." She didn't agree, but she didn't argue either. The premiere came fast, a grand theater in Los Angeles, red carpet, flashing lights, celebrities everywhere. Anna arrived in a beautiful gown. She looked radiant, but her heart searched the crowd for one person. Keanu was nowhere in sight. The movie began. The audience held their breath. And when that final scene played, the one they fought to keep, there wasn't a single dry eye in the room. The applause after the film was deafening. Anna stood, tears in her eyes as the audience gave her a standing ovation. After the crowd started to leave, she stepped out quietly through the side exit and walked away from the noise. And there he was, Keanu, standing by himself near the quiet alley behind the theater, dressed in a simple black jacket, hands in his pockets. "You came," she said softly. "I said I wouldn't," he smiled. "But I wanted to see how it ended." "We both know how it ends," she said. He looked at her, eyes gentle. "It ends with you becoming everything you were meant to be." Anna stepped closer. "You changed everything for me. You changed yourself," he said. "I just reminded you what was already there." They stood together under the soft glow of a street lamp. "What now?" she asked. "Now?" Keanu looked up at the sky. "You tell more stories. You carry the light, and you keep being the person no one can ignore." She nodded. Then she reached into her small purse and pulled out something folded. Old, a little worn. The note, the one he had written her. "I kept it," she said. He smiled. "Then you'll never need me to remind you again." Anna stepped forward and hugged him. It wasn't long, but it said everything. He held her gently, like a proud teacher sending off a student who had become greater than anyone expected. "You're not going to vanish, are you?" she asked. "Not vanish," he said. "Just rest. Maybe write. Maybe fix my motorcycle. You deserve it." He nodded once more, then started walking away down the street. Anna watched him go, her eyes shining. And when she turned back toward the theater, she felt something new. Not pressure, not fear, but purpose. In the weeks that followed, the movie exploded. Critics praised it. Fans flooded the internet with love. Anna was offered a lead role in a major international film. One magazine called her the voice of a new generation, but whenever someone asked how it all started, she would say softly, "It started the day I walked in barefoot, and someone chose to see me." And she meant every word. She never forgot. Because sometimes greatness doesn't come from power. Sometimes it comes from noticing the quiet, from offering slippers, from writing notes, from standing beside someone when no one else will. And in Anna's story, that person was Keanu Reeves, a man the world tried to overlook, but a man who changed everything by doing exactly what he always had, being kind when no one was watching.